Hey everyone! So we all need to work with a freelancer from time to time, right? You might need someone to help you create a logo, or you just need to delegate some video editing responsibilities, or really anything else. The point is, hiring a freelancer can really help you manage your workload. But it's important to make sure you're using the right platform to find one. Upwork and Freelancer are two of the most popular options, and they both come with their pros and cons. Today, I'm going to be telling you about my experience with each platform to help you decide between them for yourself. First things first, let's talk about their fees. Freelancers tend to talk a lot about pricing, but it affects us clients just as much. Now, it's hard to offer a direct one-to-one comparison of both of these platforms because the price you pay can vary greatly based on the type of project you're hiring for. But with that said, we can compare ballpark figures that you generally need to pay. One thing I'll say is that Upwork is a lot more upfront about their pricing. You have to pay 5% of the total project amount, and there's a $5 flat fee with each new contract as well. Okay, technically speaking, it's just $4.95, but you get the picture. As for Freelancer, on the surface, you'd expect to pay their stated rate of 3% for fixed payment projects. But here's the thing, the minimum payment amount is $3. You'll basically pay whatever's higher, so if the freelancer's charging less than $100, you'll pay $3 in fees regardless. Hourly rates are charged similarly, but without the minimum fee. You pay 3% for each transaction, which can really add up when you factor in payment platform fees. Oh, and if you decide to pay your freelancer a bit extra for good work, like if you're the sort of person that likes to tip, you'll have to pay 3% on that as well. And I haven't even gotten started on the extra charges. Upwork gives you all of its advanced features completely free of charge. But over on Freelancer, there are a million ways the price can go up. Want your job featured higher in the search? That'll cost you $9, which is also how much it costs to mark your project as urgent. Want to hire a recruiter to ease the hiring process? That's $9.50. Even having a freelancer sign an NDA costs you an extra $20. So you can see how expensive Freelancer can get in the long run. It might initially seem like Freelancer charges less, but it's not nearly as straightforward as I'd like it to be. To be fair, the 3% fee is lower than what Upwork's asking for, but Upwork's got its simple structure going for it. I'm thinking that both of the platform get 4 out of 5 here. Moving on, what kind of user experience can you expect? Right off the bat, I faced zero problems getting signed up on both of these platforms. But when I actually dove in and started using them, I noticed some really prominent differences between the two. Upwork had a bit of a learning curve, but it wasn't something I could complain about too much. I was using a new platform for the first time, so I fully expected to need some time learning the ropes. After I got my bearings, I was able to get my first job posting up really quickly thanks to the clean and intuitive interface. I also loved how Upwork's search and discovery feature worked. I'll admit it. I was a bit overwhelmed at first by how many different categories they had, but once I put my search query in, I found a ton of freelancers who were perfect for the job I had in mind. As long as you use the right keywords, you'll find potentially hundreds of people who can take the task off of your hands. Now, another aspect of the user experience that I personally appreciated was the suite of reporting and monitoring features I tried. I'll get into them a bit more later on, but for now, just know that Upwork makes it super easy to keep track of all your projects. Oh, and it's super easy to communicate with service providers too. Okay, so how does Freelancer compare? Well, the interface isn't quite as clean, so you might need a bit of extra time getting the hang of it. I know I needed to slowly get used to all of the different buttons, but in the platform's defense, each button also represents an additional feature you can use. There are advanced options, contests that can connect you with more freelancers, and a whole lot more. I just wish that it was arranged in a more intuitive way. And when I started using the search feature, I could tell that Freelancer was trying its best to provide a decent experience. You can get a few filters and advanced search options, but as a whole, I felt like Upwork provided much more sophisticated search capabilities. It's definitely not a deal breaker, but if you're the sort of person that values high quality search features, you might not get what you're looking for with Freelancer. But even if we ignore that, even if we give Freelancer the benefit of the doubt, there's still one thing that really rubbed me the wrong way about the platform. Basically, pretty much as soon as I posted my first job, I started getting a huge amount of job applications with basically no delay. This might sound like a good thing because you want to hire someone as quickly as possible, right? Well, that would be the case, except some of these proposals weren't coming from bona fide freelancers. Instead, they were coming from bots and content farms. You can imagine what that means for the quality of the work you get. But first, I'd say that Freelancer gets a 3 out of 5 in this round, and Upwork gets a solid 4 out of 5 again. Next up, let's talk about the quality of work. There's no two ways about it. Freelancer doesn't do a great job when it comes to work quality. This is partly due to the lower barrier of entry there is for service providers. On one hand, that's a good thing because it allows some freelancers to get started without having to jump through too many hoops, but it makes it that much harder for us clients to get the kind of work that we need. If we compared it to Upwork, Freelancer starts to seem like a downright shady operation. Like, Upwork actually has a super strict vetting process to make sure all of the work is up to scratch. If a freelancer is on the platform, you can rest assured that they'll do a solid job with your project. If you ever have a bad experience, Upwork is always ready to step in and resolve any issues that might come up. Now, I will say that I got in touch with a few solid service providers on Freelancer. They're there if you look for them, so it's not like you're always getting the short end of the stick. Freelancer has a selection of service providers that even Upwork doesn't have, and they tend to charge less on average, which is a major plus point. It's just a hit or miss experience at least some of the time, which isn't something I had to deal with on Upwork. Time tracking and project management also factor into the equation here. Both platforms have tools on offer that can help you keep track of how much progress your hired freelancer has made. But Upwork also has the handy automatic invoice feature. This allows you to get an invoice as soon as the project is over through the project management tool, which is yet another load off of your shoulders. Freelancer does a decent job here, but the sometimes low standard of work, there is a bit of a turnoff. I feel like it's fair to give it a 3 out of 5 in the quality of work department, and Upwork has to get a 5 out of 5 here. This means that Upwork is my choice. With a final score of 13 out of 15, I'd say it exceeded my expectations for the most part. Freelancer got a 10 out of 15, which isn't terrible, but it's not great either. Don't get me wrong, there are a few positives to working on Freelancer, at least from a service provider's point of view, but if you're a client that wants good work delivered on time, Upwork is definitely the way to go. However, in Freelancer's defense, it hasn't had as much time as Upwork. It needs to do some growing before it can really compete with the heavy hitters of the industry. And I did see some potential in the workers that it currently has to offer. Maybe in a couple years, I'll return to the platform to find all of its little issues have been sorted out. Also, if you haven't signed up for Upwork yet, you can use the link down below to get $50 applied to your account when you make your first hire. So what do you think? Will you give either of these platforms a try? Let me know what you think if you do. But that's all for now, and I'll see you guys in the next one.